Good morning, guys, and welcome to my unboxing and review of the F90 Unit 2 and the Mission Pack E-Type and S-Type. The E-Type and S-Type came out in 2019 alongside the regular F90, I believe. The Unit 2 came out in 2021, but don't be fooled by that release date. This kit is basically just a recolor of the original F90 in a more interesting color scheme, I believe. Instead of the usual protagonist Gundam tricolor scheme of blue, red, yellow, but it primarily being white and blue, this kit goes for purple, red, and black, I believe, with the kit primarily being purple and black, which is a lot more unique. There is some splashes of white, but the kind of the way that the white and the main color purple are laid out is inverted from the blue and white of the Unit 1, which is just a more interesting color scheme in my opinion, and why I opted for the Unit 2 instead of the normal one. This is a very kind of storied unit, because there are three main variations of it. There's this unit here, which is just the recolor, how it starts off in the side story. It eventually gets captured by Martian, and that has its own model kit, which I'll throw up on the screen. It's basically the same, except it has thicker proportions. It's in like a weird like Ronald McDonald red color, and it has a different head sculpt. It also loses the option to mount mission packs, which is the unique gimmick of the F90. And then there's the 2i after the SNRI recaptures it. That is a slightly... They changed the color scheme again to be kind of closer to the base F90. And it comes with the iPack in the box, I believe. But the kit I'm looking at is just a recolor of the F90. And seeing as these are just kind of normal p-bandai style boxes in monochrome, this just reuses the box art of the regular F90, but recolored in a monochrome purple. The mission packs in a monochrome green. No real info on the sides of either of these. I got both of these on Premium Bandai, the Unit 2 for $45 and the mission packs for $23. So, with nothing really on the box, let's get right into it, starting with the F90 Unit 2. Inside the F90 box, we get the F90 Unit 1 manual. It's identical to the Unit 1's manual, as you can see from the full color spread on the back, as well as this insert specifically for the Unit 2. There's going to be a different sticker used on the waist unit, as well as the shield, as well as the sticker sheet and the decals, and then a different decal guide specifically for this kit. And besides the manuals, we get 6 bags of runners, and inside of those bags, 12 runners, as well as this bag containing the wire and tubing. I assume similar to the Young Star, it's going to be tubing for in the feet, as well as this relatively large sticker sheet. I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting the eye stickers, the camera stickers, the triangles. That's typical for the F91, the cluster, and now this. What I wasn't expecting is this gigantic sticker for the shield. For a modern master grade, this is pretty bad. I was expecting it should just have like a white piece for the shield and then maybe a sticker for the 90, but to have it all in one is a little strange. Especially considering on this water slide decal sheet, we have a gigantic 90 here. They could definitely afford to put another one in. And as for the runners themselves, Runner A is a multicolor runner coming in 4 different colors. Red for some accent parts, for the head. You can see the parts for like the door and the torso. Parts in yellow for accent parts, mostly like the outside of venting parts. Parts of the front skirts here. Parts in black for some more accent parts. You see the outer parts for the torso here, part for the shield, and then parts in clear. I believe these are mostly for the head. On the cluster, these came in clear fluorescent green. Here, they're just clear, so they're a little more annoying if you want to paint them instead of using the stickers. Runner B, in that very nice main shade of purple that the kit uses, for a lot of armor parts, as well as this huge piece for the shield. 2 of Runner C, also in that very nice purple, for some additional armor parts. Runner D, in this dark gray ABS plastic, just like the F91. The F90 series, including the cluster and this, use ABS for their frames, which is a little strange in 2024, but this kit was designed in 2019. The F91 was in 2018. They all use ABS. 2 of Runner E, in that same dark gray for some more frame parts. Runners F1 and F2, also in dark gray ABS. F2 is a copy of this top left section of the runner. This contains some more inner frame parts as well as parts for the beam rifle and the shield. 2 of runner G for some white parts. On the other F90s, white would be a main color, but out here it's a small accent for the tops of the shoulders, parts of the skirt, and the feet. And for beam effects, of course, we get the venerable SB13 1/144th scale beam saber effect parts. This would normally be included in high grades, but seeing as the late UC kits are smaller, these are used and look fine with the F90, as well as the F91 and the cluster. So with all these runners out of the way, I'll see you after the build. So I'm currently in the middle of building the kit, and I just want to make a little note here. This actually is a very kind of standard style manual. There is a full info spread in the middle of this manual, which is very not p-bandai of them to do, explaining the standard weaponry that the F90 uses without any mission packs, explaining the mission pack system with all the hard points across it, giving a quick their one-step improvement thing for panel lighting, a full color guide here in the middle, and then kind of explaining the premise of the F90 side story. This is actually really nice for the manual. I'm very surprised this is even included. It makes it even more of a shame that this wasn't a standard release, because so far these kits have been pretty nice. So yeah, I will see you after I've snapped together the kit. Alright, welcome back. I've just snap built and panel lined the F90 here, and before I decal it and top coat and get it in the booth, I just want to quickly point out where all the stickers are used on it before I do anything else to it. So, sticker 1 is right here for the eyes, in a nice metallic gold. Sticker 2 is the front head camera. Sticker 3 is this rear head camera. It's kind of hard to see. But yeah, so far, so pretty reasonable. I would expect all of these to be on a master grade kit. So from here on out, these are a little more unusual. Sticker 4 for this black part with the red triangle on the ankle armor. Sticker 5 for this white triangle on the backpack. Stickers 6, 7, and 8, very typical for the F91 and F90. These kind of red triangles, you get one on each side for the arms, the legs, and the front skirts. Sticker 9 is this metallic red sticker on the beam rifle. And then here on out, the rest of these stickers are unique for the Unit 2. Just from how the runners are laid out, I'll talk more about it when we get to the aesthetics section. But sticker 10 is this white wraparound sticker for the upper crotch. And then stickers 11, 12, and 13, and 14 are all on the shield. All of the white parts you see are stickers. The base parts are just completely black. If you don't want to use the white stickers, want to paint it instead, they do give you a water slide of the purple 90 if you just want to use that. But yeah, this is pretty egregious. We'll get more into my thoughts about that once I get in the booth. But yeah, those are all the stickers for the base F90, and I'll see you in the booth. Alright, welcome back. Here's the F90 Unit 2 with what I would consider to be a reasonable amount of effort. This kit was snap built. The nub marks were cleaned up using either a single snip off the runner and then my fingernail, or a double snip off the runner and then a glass file. And then it was panel lined, decaled with the included water slide decals, and top coated using Mr. Hobby Premium Flat Top Coat. The build for this kit, similar to the 3Y, the Cluster, the Youngstar, it was fairly typical for a modern master grade. The gates were either thin or on edges or both. But the problem is with this kit, because the color palette is so much darker than the typical Gundam kit, you need to be a lot more careful with the nub marks. They show up a lot more easily. If you use something like a matte top coat, a little nub mark probably won't show after you finish top coating. But if you plan to use a gloss top coat or no top coat, then yeah, you need to be very careful cleaning up the nub marks. Before we get into aesthetics, I just want to talk about the accessories first, because a lot of what I talk about with the aesthetics will concern the accessories. So for hand options, we have the closed fists on the Gundam itself. This uses the same style as the F91 and the F90 Unit 3, where you have The thumb is on a ball joint and swappable fingers. We have trigger fingers for both the left and right side, and standard holding hands for both the left and right side. Just like the 3Y, unfortunately, we don't have any open expressive hands. Also, while there is a seated pilot figure in the kit, of course, there is no standing pilot figure, which is a shame because I do like to pose my kits with the pilot figure next to it just for a sense of scale. For beam effects, of course, we have two 1/144th scale standard beam effects in this very nice shade of blue. We have an action base adapter, the two beam sabers on the kit in the same nice shade of purple that the rest of the kit is in. And for weapons, you have just the shield and this very kind of standard beam rifle, kind of M16 silhouette-y. And of course the beam rifle has exchangeable E-packs. You get 4 of these, but you can only really have 3 on the kit at any given time, 1 on the rifle and 2 on the back of the shield like so. With this 4th magazine, you don't really have a place to put it, unless you have like a small diorama thing where you have a discarded E-pack just on the side. So for aesthetics, I'm really coming around to this kit. While the design is very kind of typical, basic Gundam-y, and it's clearly designed to be customized with mission packs to give it more of an aesthetic flair, parts of this kit are really, really nice. Like, this is one of those designs that I don't really like it in line art form. I didn't really like it when I saw it in the promotional art or in videos, but sitting here in front of me, I really do like a lot of parts of this kit, especially the legs. These legs are very, very nice. They're a lot slimmer than I thought they would be, especially compared to the 3Y with those giant adapters on the sides. While from the waist up, it's kind of basic. The waist down, there's a lot of very nice detail. You can see there the red vents, those yellow vent outlines. All of that is color-separated parts. There are a couple of stickers used, like I mentioned earlier, with the black part on the front of the ankle armor, the red triangles on the sides, but a lot of this is broken up very, very nicely. You can see there's kind of like a narrative-esque exposed inner frame on the bottom ankle assembly. This kit also uses kind of a real grade style two-tone inner frame to really bring out a lot of these details. While on the base F90, it's in kind of like a dark gray and then a light or dark, like faint kind of purpley color. This kit just opts for dark gray and very dark gray, which I'm not sure if it'll come out super nice on camera, but in person it's very apparent. Unfortunately for the aesthetics, these do not extend entirely to the accessories. While I do like the beam rifle quite a bit, there's a lot of nice, very molded inner detail. The red lens sticker provides a nice splash of color onto it. Even though it's only in one color, I really like the detail on this rifle. It's quite nice for a basic rifle accessory. The shield is a different story. I really don't like that all of these are stickers. I would definitely recommend, if you do get this version of the kit, to paint it over. I'm pretty sure the reason this happened is for the Unit 1 on the A runner, where all the parts come from for what these white sections are on the shield, they're blue on the Unit 1, in addition to the blue parts for the torso here. On this kit, they're in black, and the shield parts are in white. So they really had two options because of how kind of awkwardly in the middle those torso parts are. They could have either done what they did here, have everything in black, those torso parts look nice, and then just sticker up the shield. Or they could have made everything white to make, because the bulk of those parts are for the shield. So that would look nicer on the shield, but then you'd have to deal with those awful wraparound stickers, which when we look at the mission packs later, you'll see they don't really look very good at all. So I think what they did here was really all they could do, even though I'm not a fan of it. Like, having this amount of color correcting stickers on a master grade is really not good, and you would never see this kind of thing on a standard release nowadays. But yeah, aesthetically this kit's quite nice. I'm very much warming up to it. And for a quick size comparison, similar to the Youngstar, it's the exact same height, so it is in between the size of a standard high grade, being the 1/144th scale RX-78-2 Revive, and a standard master grade, being the Sharzakazu 2 2.0. So before we go into articulation, I kind of want to show off kind of what I was talking about with the Youngstar, where that I really like seeing a developmental through line for these mobile suits in model kit form. So pulling up next to it, here's the Youngstar, and of course the master grade F91 2.0. Like, seeing these three side by side, you can really kind of see a development between them. On the front skirts, you can see the evolution from this to kind of the overall sculpt that would be used for the F91, but retaining still some details from the F90, being these adapters on the front for the mission packs. You can definitely see it in the shoulders, where the overall sculpt becomes more elongated, like the F91. The muzzle shape, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but the F90's is kind of a standard sharp Gundam muzzle. The 3Y has a more rounded muzzle that would be used on the F91. The biggest change you can see on the legs. You can see kind of the unrefined triple vent style with the big red vent on the kneecap. That's eschewed in favor of this kind of vehicle grill intake style on the 3Y, which would later be refined into the 91. The designers for 91 have said they based it on cars, and you can clearly see that in the torso shape, whereas the 90 is very standard UC Gundam. The 3Y, you can see it's very aerodynamic, almost reminding me of something like a bullet train, and the F91 is very clearly car-based with the grille here and a very like car hood-shaped upper torso section. But there's also some parts from the 90, particularly the cockpit, that make it to the 91. The core block system from the 3Y wouldn't appear again until the crossbone, and the F90 uses the same kind of clear cockpit that is in the 91, although you won't really be able to see it on camera, as you'll see in a bit. So yeah, I think it's really cool to see this developmental through line. The accessories also kind of enforce this. The kind of standard beam rifle and shield combo that come with the F90 do not appear on the 3Y or the F91. The standard shields are replaced with the beam shield, of course, and the rifle design is radically altered for the 3Y and then the F91. Okay, so getting into articulation for the head, it can look up to only about there, so not particularly far. The neck is on a hinge, so it can look down a pretty decent amount. Of course, you have a 360 spin. Then you have a decent side to side tilt. The shoulders will swing forward a little bit before the armor collides with the torso. It can rotate up to give the arm a fairly high reach. You can almost recreate the last shooting pose, especially if you bend the arm a little bit. The arm has 2 points of rotation, one in the bicep, and then one in the forearm, same as the F91 and 3Y. The elbow has a full double bend, giving really nice bend of like maybe 160 degrees. The wrist, of course, is on a ball joint, and as I mentioned earlier, the thumb is on a ball joint, and the fingers are not articulated, they're swappable style. The backpack, these thrusters are both on ball joints, so they can rotate around a little bit. The beam saber holders can swing in and out, although I've noticed they're prone to falling off if you do it too much, so be careful. The torso itself is on a peg, so you can 360. And it's also on a bit of a hinge, so you have a very nice downward stomach crunch and a very nice upward stomach crunch if you want to get like a kind of upward firing pose. And the cockpit can be opened. It's kind of hard to get to unless you crunch the stomach upwards. But once it's open, you really can't see inside there. There's this very large gray section in the way, and the cockpit's all the way in there. It is clear, though, like the F91. For the waist, then, the front skirts, of course, are on separate ball joints, so you can move them up to there. Side skirts are on a C-clip. They go up about this far, but you'll be moving the torso by doing so. The back skirt is fixed in place, but there is this rack on the back for mounting the beam rifle when not in use. And there is a hip swing mechanism. You have to kind of swivel the front skirt out, and then you can pivot the whole hip forward for more leg articulation. For the legs themselves, move the front skirt up. You get a full 90-degree front kick. The back skirt will block that, so you only get maybe 30 degrees to the back. That will be more if you kind of swing the hip forward, but that looks a little awkward. For the side raise, you can raise it also about 90 degrees. And there's an incredibly nice double bend in the knee. I can almost kick the back of its head. A full 180-degree double bend, extremely nice. The only thing that would make it better if there was like an armor slide gimmick on the knee, but this design doesn't really allow for it. For the feet, there is no toe separation, so no separate toe bend. You do get some decent side to side. The entire ankle will swing to give about that far forward and that far back. Much better than the 3Y because it doesn't have that giant armor assembly on the back. So the overall articulation is very nice on this. Really, the only point that could be significantly improved is foot articulation, but the solid feet does mean this kit is very stable standing up. And as I mentioned earlier on the beam rifle, the E-packs can be removed. The handle can swing from side to side. And on the shield, this point here the center point can rotate to rotate the shield on the arm, and this handle can swing out. So let's get into a few poses. So getting the F90 up at an action base and putting in a bit of a spin, starting with the beam saber and the shield. The beam saber is fairly standard. I don't know if it was just me, but I found it was a little hard to get it securely in the hand. But apart from that, it's just a pretty standard beam saber, but the hilt is in a very unique purple. And there is some nice molded detail on it. The beam effect color is also quite nice. I'm not sure it super complements the purple really well though. But the main thing I want to talk about is the shield. From far away, it actually looks pretty nice. Those stickers, especially after a top coat where the finish matches the rest of the kit, does look quite nice. The only problem is getting the shield into a pose is kind of annoying. The connection between the for the like rectangle peg into the arm connector is pretty weak. It will fall off very easily. And I found it was like having the F90 actually grab onto the handle on the bottom didn't really help secure it. So, for the most part, it's not that big a deal because you're going to be posing it with mission packs anyway, but the shield is definitely a weak spot for the kit. Moving on to a firing pose with the beam rifle. If you're not using a mission pack, the beam rifle is definitely the star of the show, and especially in a kind of dynamic, aggressive pose like this, the very nice leg sculpt and geometry really get a chance to shine. The beam rifle, despite being in a monotone gray, after a top coat to remove that signature ABS shine, it looks great. The molded detail, the geometry on it, it all looks fantastic. And as you're going to see in a bit, in a two-handed firing pose, it also looks quite good. The back of the shield in this aggressive pose also has some nice molded detail that pops through. The inner frame section that the Gundam actually attaches to is also quite nice here. So overall, this kit articulates quite well. It has a very striking and unique color scheme, and that is more than enough to kind of overcome the, I guess, basic sculpt of the waist up of this kit. Not that that's much of a factor if you're going to buy into this kit's unique gimmick, which is the mission packs, which we'll take a look at in a bit. But for $45, which is fairly cheap for a modern master grade here in the States, this kit I would say is worth it if you can find it. If you like the Unit 1 color scheme more, of course look out for that, but this kit, by the uniqueness of its color scheme alone, has plenty of shelf presence, plenty of posability, great articulation. The only real weak spots, in my opinion, are the lack of foot articulation and the massive amount of stickers on the shield, but again, if you apply a top coat to it to even out the finish, it looks fine, and just be careful while you're applying it so that it's not off. Because with such a big surface area, if you try to kind of realign it, the chance of it like wrinkling or tearing is very high. So now that that's out of the way, let's move on to the mission packs. Unboxing the mission pack E-Type and S-Type. The E-Type, I believe, stands for electronic warfare. Includes a radome as well as an EMP gun. The S-Type stands for support type. This basically converts the F90 into a pseudo gun tank with the 4-barrel like cannons replacing the hands and the 2 larger cannons on the back. So opening it up. This manual for the mission pack in a very typical p-bandai style, all black and white, no color spreads for anything, a decal guide on the back. No, actually, surprisingly, we do get this kind of photo of it, although it is in black and white, but we don't get an info spread or anything that we normally would in manuals. But besides the manual, we get 4 bags of runners, and inside those bags there are 7 runners, as well as this very long wire and tube combo, similar to what we would find on the Gundam Mark II or in the feet of the F90. I assume this will have to be cut down to be used in in one of the mission packs. I think the S-type to power the hand cannons. We also get this nice sheet of water slide decals and this rather large foil sticker sheet. It seems this is going the way of a lot of recent high-grade accessories where they're not very color accurate. You need a lot of stickers to make them color accurate, which is a little disappointing considering they sold this standalone for $23 for just an expansion set. But getting into the runners themselves, Runner XA in this nice gray color is parts for the EMP gun, as well as the kind of back part for the ray dome, the center part for the ray dome, and some mounting pieces. Runner XB, which we get 2 of, some more parts for the EMP gun, as well as miscellaneous parts for the mission pack. Runner XC for the S-type mission pack. You have parts for the back, you have the barrels for the hand-mounted beam guns, and Runner XD in this nice kind of army green color for some more parts for the S-type mission pack. So I'll get this snapped together and mounted on the kits, and I will see you after the build. So I've just snap built and panel lined the mission pack E and S type, and I just want to quickly go into the sticker placement for all of these before I decal and top coat it. So starting with the E pack, sticker 1 you get 4 of for the shoulder units. It's these here, 1 on each side for both units. Sticker 2 and 3 are these blue triangle sections, 1 on each side for both of them. Sticker 4 is on the EMP gun. It's this very large camera sticker up here. Sticker 5 and 6 are on the waist units. You get 2 of 5, which is this little pink part in the middle, and 2 of 6 for the black stripe. Sticker 7 you get 2 of for these blue metallic parts on the sides of the EMP gun. Sticker 8 you get 2 of for the gray and metallic blue circles on the radome. Stickers 9 and 10 are also on the radome for these red bits on the sides for some wraparound stickers. Now for the S-type mission pack, there's a lot of them. Sticker 11 you get 4 of, 1 on each side of the beam Gatling guns on the hands for this red and black sticker for this kind of vent detail. Sticker 12 you get 4 of wraparound red stickers for these missiles, which are already kind of peeling up a little bit. Sticker 13 for these triangular red and black vent details for the shoulder-mounted cannon unit. Sticker 14 and 15 for the back of the arm-mounted units for these red sections. Sticker 16 back to the shoulder-mounted units for these red and black sections. On the waist section, sticker 17 is this light blue section, sticker 18 is this red section, sticker 19 are these 2 blue squares, and sticker 20 on the cruise missiles, you get 2 of them for these wraparound red sections. So yeah, there's a lot of stickers, and I'll get into my thoughts on them later once I get it in the booth. So for the mission packs, I've panel lined and top coated both of them using Mr. Hobby Premium Flat Top Coat. Here's everything in mission pack E and S and the 2 Gundams that they're going to attach onto. Starting with the E pack, for the cluster, first going to need to detach the beam rifle. Unfortunately, you can't mount it on the back rack or anything because that will be used for the waist unit. I'm going to try to keep the Mega Beam Bazooka on here. I know kind of lore-wise that contradicts what this was for. I believe it was used when they were fighting in a forest in the source material, and they didn't want to start a giant forest fire with all the beam weaponry. This kind of contradicts that, but it's for the aesthetic. So first, for the shoulders, need to detach this top cap and just attach in the shoulder like so, and close up the side. Repeat for the other shoulder. Okay, so shoulders attached. Now for the front skirt parts, just need to attach these yellow segments. Okay, there we go. Now that the front skirts are off, that just exposes the front hard points. And we simply plug it in like so. Then just plugs in like so. Okay, now for the radome, we're going to need this, the standard F90 backpack that came as an extra part for the cluster. Okay, that was in there pretty tight, but I'm removing the core fighter because I do want to pose the core booster separately, as I mentioned in my cluster review. So, yeah, so we just need to plug the standard F90 backpack on. It just attaches to these two pegs. Okay. Now that that's attached, we have the radome here. It just plugs in onto the back like so. Now the kit's quite back heavy. Just had to adjust the mega beam bazookas for a second there. And now to attach the jamming gun. Alright, we'll just grab on like so. And there is the mission pack E-type. Now for the mission pack S-type. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the shield connection was very weak. All it took was a little bump to send it flying. So we don't need this anymore. The attachment point will not be there for it anyway, either on the back or the arm. It's going to be used by the S-type. And then we need to get the beam rifle out. And it doesn't really matter what hand type you use when you're mounting this thing, but the manual says closed fists, and I think that'll be the most convenient. So that's what I'm going to be using. Okay, so starting with the backpack. Pop off that back cover, and then the backpack just slots in like so. The waist section, just pop open the racks and it will slide in. I guess that decal wasn't sprayed on properly. Oops. So it'll just slide in like so. Like that for the kickstands. The side skirt also seems a little loose on this kit, but that doesn't really matter given we actually need to take those off. So I need the side skirts off, or the covers off, and then we also need the front covers off. Now for the waist, unit, it should just plug into these two holes like so. Now the cruise missiles will mount to the leg adapters. So we need to get this cover off. I had to use a part separator there, but the leg adapters are off. So these cruise missiles can just plug right in like so. And for the four barrel beam guns, open up the door. It's a little hard to do that blind, but popping that in like so. Close up the door, and then the battery for the beam gun will plug right on in to the side skirt adapter like so. Then repeat for the other side. And that was much easier to do the second time than the first time. And just like that, the S-type mission pack is equipped. It also comes with these two pieces here for when the kickstands are extended. But now that they're attached, let's get this up in a spin, and I'll talk about the build and aesthetics of the mission packs. So we're gonna need the two F90s up on the spinning base with the mission packs equipped. The builds for these mission packs were quite simple, as you might expect for an accessory kit like this one. The parts, as you saw from the runners, had kind of minimal part separation. A lot of the work is being done by the very large foil sticker sheet that I mentioned, and especially on the radome, there's a lot of surface detail that you're going to need to bring out with panel lining. The nub marks on this kit are on the mission packs are quite bad. They are very large and in the middle of parts, and you definitely need to put a lot of work into cleanup. By the time I was building these, I was kind of annoyed, so I didn't put the work that you might that you should be putting into it. And as you can see here, even after a matte top coat, I don't know if you can see that on camera, the nub marks are still visible. You can be a little careless, of course, if you're planning to top coat it after you decal, which you should. If you use a matte top coat, a lot of those nub marks will be kind of obscured by it, so you don't need to be as careful. But aesthetically, the color accuracy is quite poor, and the kit and the mission packs have a heavy reliance on wraparound stickers. You can see the ones in the radome are already peeling off. The ones for the missile pods on the S-types arm attachments, those wraparound stickers look quite terrible. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but in person, the seam, kind of where the top of the red sticker and the side go on, is very apparent. But there are some good parts to this kit. I think, especially the E-type, going into this, I wasn't expecting much from it. I was planning on putting it in the box basically as soon as I get my next mission packs next month. But I'm surprised, because that one actually turned out to be the nicer of the two. I think because it's a bit more minimal, the kind of egregious lack of color accuracy is less apparent on it. The annoyances in the build are also less so because of it. And because it's more simple, it can accomplish what it sets out to do a lot more easily. The radome and the jamming gun are both quite nice in their sculpt. The radome is also mostly color accurate. You'll really only need to paint the tips red, which is easy to do. And the S-type is a lot more annoying on that front. There's a lot more small detail stickers, and especially getting in the gaps of the missile pods is going to be a little annoying. But yeah, apart from that, I think that these mission packs are definitely a bit overpriced from just a look standpoint. Unless you're absolutely in love with the design of these, I can't really in good faith recommend them. But let's get into some of the articulation. So the E-type first. These front skirt sections can rotate around because it's just on a peg. On the shoulders, these kind of radiator fins can spread out. Not that. Oh, actually, yeah, they can spread out a decent amount, as you can see there. No articulation on the jamming gun. These sections on the back with a larger radiator fins can rotate on the peg. And the radome, when it's active, it kind of swings out on this arm in this active state where it's kind of hovering a decent amount over the Gundam, like so. Yeah, so that's all the articulation for the E-pack. Not that much, but again, it's a more simple mission pack, and it sets out to do it does what it sets out to do pretty convincingly. Moving on to the S-type then. These two green sections on the shoulders will rotate about a peg. Same thing for the main beam cannons themselves. These arm sections, there's an articulating door to help get the arm in and out, but that's about all the articulation you're going to get out of it. No articulation from this front section. The rear, these kickstands will rotate about a peg. And yeah, that's it. Alright, so very minimal articulation from the S-type, and you can really only pull off one decent pose with it, which we'll get into right now. Alright, so starting with the S-type mission pack, getting it up on into a spin in basically the one pose that looks fine on it, the kind of all-out firing pose with the quad barrel, arm-mounted beam cannons firing forward with the twin missile pods, the cruise missiles on the legs rotated forward, the shoulder cannons, and those, like, I guess ventilation parts on the sides also pointed forward. This mission pack is very inflexible with how you can display it. Most other poses will look either kind of awkward or not really work. The lack of articulation in the rear kickstands also kind of discourages any kind of pose other than this wide-legged bracing pose for full firing. So because of this, for this mission pack in particular, I can't really recommend it unless you're like super a fan of the aesthetic of this kind of like army green, almost gun tank inspired with the armaments kind of add-on pack for full firepower. Moving on to the E-pack, or the electronic mission pack. This one is rather simple. I have the cluster here and a flying pose with it. The fin articulation helps give it a very unique silhouette, very spiny and spiky. The big radome up top is fine. I mean, the panel lining definitely helps the detail show. It looks adequate, like it does what it needs to. The jamming gun also looks really cool. It's quite large. It's very prominent. And I think the Mega Beam bazookas on the side of the cluster here definitely help. This is a very simple mission pack otherwise, and it helps kind of fill out the silhouette and give the eye more to look at besides just the almost monochrome bluish gray of the electronic pack. So yeah, this is one that I also wouldn't necessarily recommend unless you're super a fan of the design. This is definitely not something that will make your F90 look more complete. Alright, so in conclusion, for the mission packs, unlike the standard F90, which I was very pleasantly surprised by, this I was pretty disappointed in. From the build being very like 15-year-old high grady with how prominent the gates are in the middle and how annoying the nub marks are to clean compared to modern kits. It's not that big an issue if you matte top coat it because the nub marks don't show up as much, but they are very simple, highly color inaccurate, as you saw from the giant sticker sheet. Some parts are easy enough to paint in red, like the cruise missile, the red sticker at the bottom. That's easy enough. But then you have parts like the twin missile pod on the support type. That will be a little more annoying to paint in, and especially all the little like foil details across both mission packs. I don't know, especially for the price they're charging. Like, you can get a decent high grade for the price of these two accessory packs. So considering that, I can't really recommend these. And I believe these were some of the first mission packs to be introduced, because in the base F90 manual, these are the two that are shown when they're talking about equipping it with mission packs. And I think it shows. Like, they're extremely basic. The build is annoying. The aesthetics are highly dependent on stickers to be accurate, and especially those really bad wraparound stickers that peel up. So, in conclusion, I would recommend you buy the base F90 kit. It's definitely grown on me a lot, and I really like it. But the mission pack E and S type, I can't recommend. Hopefully, I'll find a mission pack that I can recommend. I'm getting the D and G type next month, so hopefully that will be worth the money. So yeah, that was my review of the F90 Unit 2 and the mission pack E and S type. And next time, I'll be taking a look at the Blue Destiny Unit 1 exam.